So how are you feeling, Petrene?
I'm feeling great, thank you. A lot's happened since I talked to you, many things going on, but it's all okay, all good.
What's been going on?
Oh, I just have different people. Besides the work that I do, I support a lot of people. I have a lot of different people that have life or death or dramatic issues that, I talk to here and there. So I just have a few of them going through a lot of things right now. Yeah.
Wow. That's actually a perfect jumping off point. I was going to ask this question later,
Okay.
but yeah, one of my questions that when I was thinking about you is this might be an easy one, but yeah, why do you think you're here? You know, Petrene on Earth in 2022, your entire life. Why do you think your soul shows you to reincarnate at this time in history? And what do you think your life is all about?
That's a great question. I think that I'm here because I remember many things from before. It's like I remember times of whether we call them past lives, whether we call them parallel lives. I remembered them when I was very, very young. And one of the most interesting things, and it seems so small, but it was so profound, I remember a beautiful, beautiful garden. And I remember being in the garden, and it was like a maze, and I was walking along the path, and different people were in couples or little groups, and I was walking alone. And I realized that they couldn't hear me and they couldn't see me, but I could see and hear them. And I realized that I just wanted to be able to talk to them because I didn't want to be in this beautiful garden alone. And so I came here this time to be a really excellent communicator and to help people understand a whole different language.
Hmm. A communicator. And what is the language you're speaking about? Spirit, spirituality?
No, it's kind of, I'm not even sure that it really has a name. I mean, when we really speak, we all speak in so many different ways. And yet we often speak when we're not really saying anything. For example, when you have a conversation with anyone, you're not even really looking at them, you're barely talking to them. When we've seen somebody in the first moment, it's like we know everything. We know everything about them. We have already everything that we need. So we might be gazing in their direction, but we're not really looking. So where are we and what are we actually doing? And for me, awareness is the key to all things. So that's very much what I bring, awareness of what we're actually all really doing versus what we think we're doing. So yeah, that's a big part of it. So we're all relating on so many different levels in so many places and times and ways, all at the same moment. It's very interesting. People have been saying for years, why am I here? What is my life purpose? And everybody wants to know that. And of course, you can pinpoint it and you can figure it out. And it's true on that level. But on a purely basic level, just that you are alive, you are in this human form, and just that you walk down the road. And if you did nothing else but meet somebody's eyes as you pass them, even if you didn't smile, even if you didn't say a word, that was exactly what you're here for, to connect. And that seems so small. And yet, if you sat back and really examined that with awareness, who knows what you actually did just in that second. So there's so much more to everything than it seems.
Mm. Yeah, I'm with you there. It's yeah, it goes into another one of my questions I was gonna ask, but I really like your comments about Yeah, we come into conversations not really paying attention to people. I always joke about this, that we're always waiting for our next chance to say our thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Halfway through someone's talking, we've like just about halfway through, we've tuned them out and we're thinking about constructing our next sentence. And we're like, and so a lot of the time, we're actually not responding to the last thing someone said. We're a lot of the time responding to something they said in the first 10 or 15 seconds of their sentence because we've been kind of taken away. And I found that was very insightful. And another thing about that is you said one of the big reasons we do that is because we already think in the first moment, we know what someone is offering. We know what their value is. And a lot of the time, I think we don't think that's very much. I know with me, I've had definitely some issues with arrogance, and where I've noticed just over time how that arrogance, that it's so small. A lot of the time, I don't even realize it. But simply the arrogance is, I know quite a bit. If someone really has to teach me something, it's probably not that big. It's probably not going to change my life in any massive way. And what I've noticed over time that's done is it's kind of suffocated my soul, kind of suffocated my curiosity. And now I'm feeling that now in my life where I'm having an existential crisis of like, I feel very numb a lot of the time. I feel very disconnected. I feel very alienated. I feel just like nothing excites me to that primitive level that we had as children. This is kind of a theme of my life right now. And this is actually a question I can ask you is, when we were children, we were so sensitive. Our wonder, curiosity was just boundless. We would watch a movie, we would listen to a song, and that song would light us up. We would be drawn into the world of that song. That song was a universe, and our consciousness was pulled into that thing. And we do that with movies, TV shows, even in life, just when we're with people, when we're at Wonderland, we're on like a merry-go-round, and suddenly that is the only thing that exists. We're so full of joy. And then as we get older, we tend to lose that. Maybe we won't have to, but most people do. What is your relationship with that youthful innocence? And do you think that we can go back to that place of sensitivity and youthfulness? Or do you think we actually shouldn't go back, that we should go forward? What's your whole perception on innocence, youthfulness, and sensitivity, and getting back to a place where we're filled up with the love of life again?
Okay, that's a great question and a good point. And I'm sure that there's no end of people feeling like that right now, especially after we've all been through the pandemic and kind of been isolated. But then again, it may well have gone in another direction for a lot of people. And I think it has. As you said yourself, you're finding that you want change and you want to go back to that and you want to find that and reconnect with that again. Many people would say, well, now I have bills to pay and I have responsibilities and I have to look after other people. That's true, but it's definitely not, the answer. I feel it's all about slowing down. It's that simple. We're all buzzing here and buzzing there and going from A and going to B. It's really interesting. When I first came to the States, I've been here about 23 years. I traveled extensively before I came here. And when I first came to the States, I remembered in the first weeks, I was in a store and I was looking at a plant. And I was looking at it from this angle and that angle and every angle. And I could have bought 10 of them, but it had to be exactly right because of the color. Color is really my thing. And I knew exactly where I was going to put it. And it was all about the vibration and the color. And I noticed a couple of managers looking at me uneasily. And he actually came across to me and said, do you need some help? Is something wrong? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just looking. that was the first one. And then because everybody drives, and I didn't drive when I first came, then I realized that everybody goes exactly from A to B, and never, ever just goes. And all of my life, I just went, and it didn't necessarily have to be from A to B. So yeah, serious conditioning exists, and I'm sure it's not just here. But so yeah, there are things in life that put us on that track.
Yeah, isn't that the definition of a child? Is it's never about point A to point B? Like, children are explorative, curious. They catch a smell, they just want to go see that tree. Sorry, go on.
So the thing is, though, we can all still do that. We can do that. And there's the slowing down. I do a workshop, and it's called The Incredible Art of Doing Nothing. and you can't imagine how difficult that is for many people to actually do. So yeah, we can slow down, we can do nothing, we can just, and isn't life the most wonderful when this happens, then you move on to that, and then something else happens. And that's when we find real joy. That's when we are aware that we are living.
So like take us through like a week in your life, or a day in your life. Yeah, well, like how do you structure your day? Do you just wake up, and how does that work for you?
I'm definitely a morning person. So I have cats and dogs and animals, and I have a couple of horses like a few miles away. So years ago, I would always be scheduled 6-8 weeks out. So I would always have appointments that far out. And then one day I'm like, this is so boring. I don't want to be scheduled that far out. So now I make a point. I'm only scheduled about a week out. Okay. Wow. Which is like really great. So yeah, during the day, I do my sessions, I do my appointments. They might start at 10. If I only want to have appointments till say 4 or 5, or I might start at 12 and work till 7. A couple of days a week, I go riding. I have grandkids, they come over, I have friends. And like last week, I was just like, I just need some sun on my legs. So I took the day off and I went to the beach, which is like an hour and a half away, stayed the night. And it was just such a pick me up, and I came back, and whenever things get stuck, or the phone's not ringing, or things might be a little bit off, I always leave the house and go and do something. And then when I come back, everything's just flowing and moving again. So yeah, I have patterns like everybody else, but I also am aware of the need to mix it up and leave some room. So I do.
Well, I love that. That's something I'm learning right now. I'm learning my process because I'm an extremely structured person. Like, that is my default kind of mode network. And yeah, I'm just realizing that essentially, like, a lot of people, including myself, a lot of the time, I think we like live the same day over and over and over and over and over again. And I love that thing. If you're feeling in a funk or something, you said you'll leave the house, and you might go to the beach, you might go for a walk, you might go for adventure. And then that is just enough of a reset to mix things up for you.
I think that's a very, very important point. Luckily, I was one of those people when it was the pandemic. I live in the woodlands. I can always go out. I have a yard. I'm so thankful for that. It might only be a small yard, but I thought of all those people that might be in a high rise and not have a yard, how that must have been. But we think that we feel safe in our house. Actually, I believe that it's quite the opposite. I feel that we can get very sense of unsafe, because when we're in our house, we're a lot more disconnected from all that is. I always tell people that are agoraphobic or very fearful or very depressed, even if you just open the door, take a few deep breaths just for a few minutes, and then, okay, go back inside, try and get to the gate, try and walk down the road. Because once you're outside, we're actually way more safe, because we're in the all that is, we're in life, we're a part of it again.
Beautiful. And how important are your friends to you? Do you need to see them every day? Is it every 2 days? How is because that's what I'm learning with myself too, is the importance of just friendship and just touch and feeling each other and loving each other. So yeah, what's your relationship with your friends? How does that look?
I'm the kind of person, I have friends and I try to stay on well terms with most people. So I have friends like 40 years and in other countries or here. And, we can pick up the phone after 6 months or see each other and it's like yesterday. So I have those kind of friends. But yeah, friends are important. And sometimes, again, if things are feeling a little stuck or things aren't moving or going wrong, exactly that. I'll either pick up the phone and call a friend or see a friend. However, having said that, when I was a lot younger, I probably had a great deal more friends. Maybe I thought I should have friends. But now I really enjoy my own company. I feel very good with myself. So friends, especially a lot of friends, can actually be really hard work. Friendships take time and real effort. So I think friends are absolutely important, but find a balance. And if you don't have too many friends, that's okay too.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I would say I have 3 extremely close friends. Again, not very many. It's just enough. Because I know what you mean. It's like when I was younger, I needed to be around people. It was, if I was bored, what do? You call up your friend, hey, let's hang out. Right. And now I spend most of my time alone. I am noticing I'm probably by myself 6 days a week, roughly. I probably see people once or twice a week. And that's a big thing for me. Like I'll see my mom, I'll go for a movie night or something. But I noticed for those 6 days, it's like intellectually, and I'm cool being by myself. I'm like you. I'm like, I love my company. I love my work. I just do my podcasts, that kind of thing. And my question was more like from the level of that we're a social species and we're literally like wired, our nervous systems are wired for people. And like I always, and I don't know if this is accurate, but I've always like told myself and people that my ideal lifestyle, and I'll have a wife and kids one day, so this probably won't be as needed, but I would just love to see people for like just half an hour a day. You know what I mean? Like go for a walk, see my buddy Christian. Hey, love you, man. Give me a hug, talk for 20 minutes and then go. And then I could be by myself the entire day. But I think it's like, yeah, what is your perspective? Do you think, because I know a lot of spiritual people, we're a lot of the time like hermits, like we love our own company, but how often do you think the human species, the animal part of us, needs to just at least touch another human being, feel another human being, be told that we're loved? What do you think that is?
Well, I have a house of dogs and cats, and I have 2 horses. A long time ago, when I was very young, I've lived in communes in various parts of the world, and I always imagined that that's how it would end up. I always imagined that it would end up with a lot of people and it would be cool. And as time went by, I realized that we all weren't quite ready for that just yet, really. So I have dogs and cats. And I mean, sometimes people say to me, don't you ever get lonely? And I say to them, are you kidding? I have so much love.
So do you think that for the most part, Doug, like maybe we don't need other human beings, we just need life? Is that
Exactly. That's very, very true. I mean, every single plant that I have, I also have a lot of plants. I'm always rescuing plants. So I have plants. I have so much life, but each and every one of them, they are all an energy. They are all a personality. That's exactly right. It's all life. So we're surrounded by life, except if you were completely alone and you're sitting in your place and you're not going outside of the door, then it would be dead. I mean, sure, you could bring in some music and you could bring in TV and all that would work to a degree. But yeah, I agree. We all need that connection, whether it's people, animals, plants, or whatever it is.
So if you were stranded on a desert island and there's nobody there, but there's some monkeys or some wild, whatever, do you think that mentally you'd be totally cool?
Absolutely. I mean, because first of all, I mean, if anybody knows what it's like to live outside, and I've lived outside from time to time, I mean, you are so with everything. You get into amazing mental and spiritual states of mind. I mean, it would be like a gift in many ways.
So maybe this whole obsession with friendship and human beings and social interaction, maybe that's actually because we live in a society that we're cooped up in our homes, away from nature, we're disconnected, we're doing jobs we don't like, and we're literally like, nature is a foreign idea to people. People think nature is like just grass on your front lawn, like, oh, I'm in nature, I'm in the wilderness. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's why people are so obsessed with they need to see their friends, because they aren't having the same energetic connection to existence, to life, to all that is that you are when you're just walking through a forest. That's very interesting.
Yes. And I mean, I know sometimes, people I've talked to different people, clients in my life, and I've said, you really just need to get a tent and go to the national forest and don't take your phone and I dare you. And some people have actually gone ahead and done that, and it has completely changed their life, and they've been like, wow. So yeah, there are certainly people out there that do that, and I feel that we all need a bit more of that.
And this is a pretty interesting one. So over the course of your life, you likely had very different beliefs. You've even shared some that you had when you were younger, you had in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. And now, what do you think are the biggest changes in your perspective on life, on lessons you've learned? What have been the big things that you've done like a 180 on? Like you used to believe that this is what you needed, or this is what life's about. And now you literally like believe the opposite. Is there any massive shifts you've had in your life like that?
Not absolutely at all.
Really?
How I basically started, I mean, it's all really simple. My entire life, I've believed that it's all absolutely awesome, the good, the bad, the ugly. I feel that regret is a serious misconception and non-understanding and lack of awareness. I really can't think anything. I mean, has life taught me anything? I've developed more awareness as I've gone along, but I mean, I'm not a this is right and this is wrong kind of person. I can find something in everything. So actually, no.
That's interesting. Yeah. So you've more or less kind of, you were very open when you were younger then.
Yes, I was adopted, so I grew up with adopted parents, older parents. I lived in the countryside, so I was always outside. I was from a very, very early age, and it wasn't an easy childhood, but I found all of that and had all of that. And so, yeah, in many ways, here I am back in the woods.
Mm. Yeah, how was your upbringing? Because you've always, I'm guessing, had psychic gifts. You've always been able to do mediumship. So how was that when you were growing up, like 10 years old, 15, that kind of thing?
It's the classic answer, and it's true for me as it is with everybody. It was so normal that I thought it was normal for everyone. It wasn't until I was older that I realized that not everybody saw it like that. You know, when I was even 10, 12, 13, life was a mass of moving color. I saw in color all the time. I mean, it was like being on an LSD trip, let's say. And later, I actually saw some research in the last few years that this apparently is how babies, little babies, experience the world. And I was experiencing that well into my 12, 13 years old. So that's how it was.
Ah, very interesting. And yeah, and another thing I've been thinking about, because a lot of the time this podcast and me, I have a little background in counseling. I did my thesis on depression and if it was actually inherent in human beings. So I'm very curious about like mental health. And like obviously right now, like we have a massive, I don't know if you'd call it a mental health crisis, but people are hurting. People feel disconnected. People feel lonely. People feel unappreciated. People feel scared. What do you think? And there's various factors, 100%. There's tons of factors. What do you think are some of the big ones, and what can people do easily, quickly, to at least alleviate some of this mental health anxiety and that kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, we've already said get in nature. Get your hands in the dirt, like actually connecting with earth is very important. So first of all, getting outside, even if you only have a park, like go there. Secondly, love yourself. Refuse to blame yourself. Refuse to think that things must be your fault, and refuse to compare yourself to anybody else, because those are the things that will keep you stuck. Lots of self-love, self-nurturing, whatever that means to you. As far as the world right now, everything appears chaotic and crazy. We're all in anguish, agonizing about, you know, all the things that are happening around us. Of course we are, if we have any empathy, of course we are. But, and here's the big but, it's awful. But there's another side. There is plenty of fabulous, wonderful news out there if you look for it. So don't get sucked into everything is falling apart. Who knows what nightmare is going to happen next. And I always say, have a diet of good news. I'm not saying you should never watch the TV again, but you know, don't get addicted and obsessed to the adrenaline of the horror.
Gotcha. And do you watch TV, like, and I mean fiction? Do you watch movies, TV shows? Do you read like novels? Did you take part in any entertainment? And if so, what?
I didn't have a TV for 20 years. I refused to watch TV. And then my grandkids, every time they would come over, when you're getting a TV, when you're getting a TV. So I finally got a TV, and there it is. So once a week, probably, I sit down and watch Netflix. And I just basically see what's on. I realize there are thousands of channels. I might look for something on Prime, might see kind of Netflix. So I generally watch those kind of things. Like many women, I am fascinated about the things people do. So any kind of true crime things,
Really?
I'm always fascinated in that stuff, just because people going over certain lines. What makes somebody do that? What led to that? Who are they really? I mean, the shadow self, as people call it, is a whole nother thing. I believe that it is a part of all of us. And some people have clearly experienced and are living in that to the fullest. So those people interest me too.
And I just want to be very mindful of time. Do we have 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes?
Yeah, we have 5 or 10, whatever it is. When we finish talking, right?
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I know I want to be mindful of your time, but yeah, I love that you mentioned the true crime stuff, because I went through this phase about 5 years ago where I was really into spirituality, and I was really into like the Esther Hicks, the Abraham stuff. And it was all about, good vibes, just plug into the light side, be a light worker. And I remember famously like telling my mom, I'm never watching a bad TV show again. I'm disconnected from negativity. And that lasted a couple of years. I did not watch anything or listen to any music that was of what I considered a low frequency. Exactly. And in the last 2 years, I've kind of changed my tune on that a bit. I've started to actually be pulled and intrigued by maybe some of the shadow side of life, maybe a bit of Stephen King stuff, some even like heavy metal music or something. It needs to have a core element of emotionality and human. Like, I don't like the just explicitly like death metal stuff, but I like emotional tortured stuff from time to time. Someone who's going through a lot of pain. What's your perspective on going to the shadows? And because I know some spiritual people would look at you, be like, oh, she's not a light worker because she likes TV shows that have a psychotic element. So what is your perspective on actually going into the darkness and maybe checking out a movie or a TV show or a book that some people might be afraid of?
Funny you should mention Stephen King. I can't even get near the name without creating chaos all around me. So horror movies, never. Stephen King kind of stuff, never. Simply because when I bring in that vibration to my reality, it always creates chaos around me. So I'm not interested and I don't do it. But as said, the true crime, the murderers, the mass murderers, yeah, I am absolutely interested about all those things. What would I say to somebody that says, well, you're not a light worker or a spiritual? I would say, with all due respect, you have no idea.
Yeah, because I feel that's and I just want to make a statement. I actually like Stephen King's non-horror stuff. I'm terrified of horror. I can't. It's not even chaos. I shit my pants. Like I just get terrified. But I find his character work and some of his non-horror stuff is just incredible. But that's besides the point. Yeah, because I definitely noticed there's some level. I don't know if I'd call it a pathology, but that absolute fear of anything negative that some people in the spiritual communities have. I always feel like almost that's what, if there is evil, if there is negativity, it's probably what it preys upon. It preys upon the people that don't think they have any capacity for evil, and the people that are unaware. But go on.
Sorry. What you just said is so true, and it is absolutely brilliant. Fear is the problem, okay? You can be into this, into that. You can look at it all. I mean, this is why voodoo and all of those kind of things work. And I have a person now and again, oh my goodness, this person put this curse or this person did that. And, their health is declining and their world is falling apart. And I always say to people, you would be amazed. People that can really effectively actually do those kind of things are so few and so rare. But many people can frighten you to death because of your fear, and they are making you believe that they can do those things.
Beautiful. And the last question before we finish up is obviously, as we've touched on, our world is going through what I consider like a metamorphosis. I think we're like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, and we got just chaos going on. In some respects, I like you, I can see the positive sides, I can see the social change, but let's just say we're going through volatile, turbulent times, a lot of change. But on the other end of that turbulence, of that just energy, is possibility for transformation. And so let's say, describe the world that you think could be in 20 years. Where do you think, if we really if we just start loving each other, what do you think the world could look like? Describe it in 20 years.
Well, first of all, I think one of the biggest problems that we still have is this idea of good and bad. Okay, evil, and people just fall into that. It's the same as still believing in Father Christmas. Okay, and that's fair enough. But so yeah, awareness. So with some awareness and with some honesty, each and every one of us, to start understanding ourselves, who we really are, how things really work, and honesty with each other. I mean, oh my goodness, that would change everything. I mean, such a wonderful world. People, of course, we all have to work a little bit, do we? It seems that we do. Maybe there's a way not to. Maybe we can take care of the everyday stuff so that everybody can have food and, somewhere to live and the basic stuff, so that then we could all start seeing who we are really and what we can actually do, the gifts that we actually have. I mean, it will just be fabulous. Different groups will be into different things, and there really will be room for all of them, plenty of give and take. I mean, heaven on earth, literally.
Amen. Yeah, that's one thing at the simplest form, in 20 years, I would just love us to be able to take care of, like, I don't know if it's going to be a universal basic income, but what I would love is people don't need to work just to survive. I wish we could just survive without needing to work, that our basic needs can be met, and whatever we do over the top of that, whatever money we make, or I don't know if it's going to be a barter economy, I don't know if it's, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I would just like it if, like in a village, we took care of each other and we took care of our basic needs, and then we just see what's going to happen on the top of that,
Exactly. And I think we've all got to start having that vision. And that's something I ask in groups sometimes. I ask people, imagine you have the basics. Imagine you have everything that you need. What are you going to do now with the rest of your life? And I think we all need to sit down and write down at least 11 things. And let's take it from there.
I love it. And lastly, what are you working on? Anything that you'd like to plug right now? Where can people find you if they want to get involved? Just how do you want to do this?
I've just started doing events right now. I work with pets as well as people, so I'm about to do something, but it's just in a few weeks. So no, nothing to really plug right now. I've written 3 books already. I'm not really into that right now. People can find me at my website, Petrene.com. My phone, everything is already on there. I would like more people to experience progression. You can not only go backwards in time without hypnosis, you can go forward. It's progression. I've proved this on television. I've done it with reporters for newspapers. You could say to me, I want to go ahead 3 years and 10 years. And I don't tell you what's going to happen. I just help you get there and you see it and feel it for yourselves. I've always wondered, and I've proved the point. People have looked back later. Did that really happen? And yeah, it did. I've always wondered why scientists and people in technology aren't using that more. It just makes total sense. We can literally go ahead in time, see what's happening. So why aren't more people doing that? So yeah, progression.
Well, thanks for saying that at the end of the podcast. I wish we could have did another half hour into that territory. That's fascinating.
Right.
But thank you very much for coming on. This was an absolute pleasure, Petrene.
And thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. And you take care.
And to everyone watching, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you.